Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of A Girls Podcast with your host, Jasmine Roll. I am back for another episode. We missed last week's, which was probably a good idea, to be honest, because I really don't have that much to talk about. And even now, I was thinking, man, I've got nothing to say, really. But then I just put a little bit of effort in, and I thought I could talk about something that is really New Zealand related, so most of my viewers won't really care, but I was thinking and reading a little bit about the situation of when you've been outside of New Zealand and then you come back into the country. You go into these quarantine hotels which will be paid for by the government if you stay in New Zealand for 6 months. It used to be only 3 months, but now they require 6 months of you staying in New Zealand. Otherwise, you have to pay for it yourself. It's like $1,500, so it's a significant amount of money. So I was reading a little bit about it because there's a lot of people who are quite anxious about returning to New Zealand because it can be really difficult to secure a spot in these quarantine hotels. So there are people who have been trying to get a spot for a very long time. One person has said even a whole year. Now, obviously, I can't verify if that's true or not or anything like that, but the way that you book the hotels is like you log on to the website, or maybe there's some app, and then if there is a time, it'll show up and it's the first person to click on it gets it, basically. So you can imagine that means that it can be really easy to miss out, right? Because it's not like you put your name on a waiting list and then the person who's been waiting the longest gets in. It's not like that. It's like first come, first serve, which is kind of quite difficult, really, isn't it? Because not everybody has the ability to sit around and wait for times and spots to show up. And then, I would imagine that, if I was doing something like that, I would want the person who's been waiting the longest to be able to get in. That seems a little bit more fair, but what do I know? Anyway, so for me, there is a possibility that I might have to come back to New Zealand. There's also the fact that eventually I would want to come back to New Zealand, but when you take into consideration this whole issue with trying to book a spot, it really creates another barrier to an already difficult situation. Because for myself, finding a flight from Sweden to New Zealand, that in itself is going to be difficult. And then if I'm booking the flight, I'm not even guaranteed that I can use it. So, and then if we do the other way around, I book the hotel, then I have to hope and cross my fingers that there's going to be a flight that allows me to show up on the right day. And obviously, since there is this whole quarantine hotel with limited spots, there's not really going to be a lot of flights coming from Sweden to New Zealand on that time, right? Because it's not like there's going to be a few hundred people coming from Sweden to New Zealand on that specific day, because how would they have gotten spots in the hotel, So it really stresses me out a little bit because, already I'm worried about potentially not being able to stay in Sweden, and then on top of that, it seems like such a big deal to come back to New Zealand, because honestly, I could try and calm myself down and say okay, maybe Sweden isn't that great, maybe I'll just go back home, but it's not even that easy, You know, it's not like, oh, just pack up your stuff and come home. No, like that option isn't there. It's complicated. It's potentially impossible. I mean, really rough. So, oh, maybe that was just my hair. I don't know. I was just outside, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's a spider crawling all over me. But anyway, so that is kind of really stressful, and there's a lot of people in the news talking about it. It's rough. And I don't understand why things are the way they are. I don't understand why you can't put your name down on a list, because there are, like, you can be on, like, a priority list, you know, like special circumstances. But, I mean, it doesn't really seem like a lot of people are on those special circumstances list. And it's just rough. So that's kind of really the only thing that I had to talk about. Life has kind of been puttering along as usual, but not really as usual, because corona and then obviously my own health, mental health issues. So this week I was working half time, and then the rest of the time I'm on sick leave. But it's been really rough because my work wanted me to start at 6 o'clock in the morning, which means I have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. And that's really difficult because I have really big difficulties trying to sleep. So I take sleeping medication, and then it can be really difficult to get up in the morning because of that medication. And then so on the Sunday night, I didn't sleep at all, like 0 hours, literally. I was awake all night. So I went to work, and, you know, I managed it. And then I went home at 10 o'clock. There were issues with the train, like there was some sort of train incident. So it took several hours to get home. Oh, suddenly it's raining. And then when I did make it home, I went to sleep earlier than usual, just to try and make it easier for me to get up the next morning. And when I woke up, I had a really sore throat, and I thought maybe I was like snoring a lot during the night, or I don't even know, but I wasn't too worried. So I went off to work and worked. And then when I got home, I did sort of feel like I had like aches in my body. So I was kind of feeling like maybe I was getting a cold or something. And then when I woke up on the Wednesday, I did feel like I had a fever, like a mild fever, but I really wasn't sure. But then I was thinking, like, I don't even know like what the government, what their position is right now on if you feel like you have COVID symptoms but you're vaccinated, do you show up to work or don't you? Like, I don't even know what the situation there is. So I called in sick anyway, because I mean I'm working half time, so like what does it matter if I don't work, you know, those 4 hours that I'm supposed to work. So I did that, but then I also talked to a friend, and he sort of mentioned a good point, which is that it's probably just exhaustion because I didn't sleep that whole night. And that makes sense. And then on the Thursday, I was still feeling like, because I still have a sore throat. So Thursday, that's today. So I called in sick again. So we'll see how it is tomorrow. I have already taken some sleeping medication. So then I'll get off to sleep hopefully quite early, like 4 o'clock, and then I'll get a lot of sleep, and hopefully that'll just like rest my body enough that these sort of like cold symptoms go away, so then I can work on a Friday. So we'll see. But yeah, it's really difficult that they still want me to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get off to work and start work at 6, because I mean that's it's quite difficult anyway when you feel well, and then to have to do that when you feel not well at all, you know, like mentally, it's rough. So, and then, yeah. So, yeah, that's it. I don't really have anything else to talk about. I'll hopefully be doing some more Stardew Valley live streams because I've been really enjoying the game, and I know that some people have been enjoying my live streams no matter what I do, so we'll probably be doing that. But other than that, I'll see you guys all next time. Leave a like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff, and yeah, take it easy. Hey door.